I just wanted to do a disclaimer real quick. As we get into this conversation, please don't think any less of me, because I feel like I'm about to be exposed in a way that some people aren't necessarily expecting. I don't know. I'm just a little nervous about what I might say. You take it or you leave it, I guess. But disclaimer, I apologize in advance.
Okay. You want to go ahead and...
Hi. Who are we looking at? Hi. My name is Mrs. Melanin.
And I'm Beleaf Mel.
And we're here with episode... Okay. Hi, I'm Mrs. Melanin.
And I'm Beleaf Mel.
And we're here with episode 9 of
How Married Are You? And before we hop into our special topic, which is quite interesting, I'm sure it's going to be interesting, I just want to thank you guys so much for listening to us everywhere that you do. Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, everywhere you guys are listening. Thank you guys so much for being engaged. Big shout out to our Patreon supporters who are joining us live on the Facebook group. And if you are a Patreon supporter and you have not added me as a friend yet on Facebook, please do that so I can get you in this group. So big shout out to our Anchor supporters who are funding our podcast, which is really dope because we get to invest in what we're doing here. Yes, but that's a great segue into right now. What I want to thank is our special guest who left a review on Anchor. Okay, now if you want to leave us a voice memo, if you want to support us, just go to your browser and go to anchor.fm/HMAY. And you'll be prompted to support us in any way if you want to. If you're a Patreon supporter, please don't give on Anchor. You already get everything that people on Anchor would get anyway. And if you have supported us, please send us your email. We love to send you the visual version of this podcast. And if you want to send us a voice memo, go to the Anchor app. Love Anchor. I love the Anchor app. They have been giving us so many different opportunities, and I'm excited to share some of the stuff that's coming up in the future with Anchor. But you can leave us a voice memo just like this person did right here.
What's going on, How Married Are You family? This is Donald Gaston Jr., producer of the How Married Are You podcast, and you're listening to Words of Affirmation.
What we're gonna do right here is go back.
Hi Glen, hi Yvette. I'm Margot, I'm 25. I'm not married. I am in a relationship with someone that I would love to spend the rest of my life with, but we are both not religious and we're not really sure we want to get married. We might, but we're not sure.
Don't stop to the beat, y'all, and you don't stop. A freak, y'all, and you don't stop to the beat, y'all, and you don't stop. A freak.
I just wanted to send you this message to say thank you, show you appreciation for what you do, tell you that even though, our situations might seem a little different, I still learned so much from you guys, and I'm so glad that I found you. I learned so much about how to love your partner, how to respect your partner, how to talk to each other, how to have a great family someday. Yeah, I guess that sums it up. I'm thankful, and I wish you the best. Bye.
And we're back. Thank you guys for listening to that Words of Affirmation. Let's go ahead and hop into this next topic, man.
All right. So a while back on my personal Instagram page, I did, you know how they have that new feature where you can do...
My knuckles are ashy.
You know how on Instagram they have that new feature in your Insta stories where you can do Ask Me Anything? Well, I asked people for how married are you topics, because a lot of times in the DMs people will say, hey, this should be a topic, so I said, let's just open it all up to everybody. And so we got so many responses, and a lot of them overlapped. One of the responses was racial issues, and I was like, okay, so if racial issues is a topic that you're interested in, then give me some specific things about race that you'd like us to talk about. And so one of them was interracial dating. And there were subcategories underneath interracial dating.
Why should we be speaking on interracial dating? Why is anyone even asking us that?
I don't know why they're asking us that, but it kind of so some of the subcategories kind of went into what would you do if your child brought home, like if your children brought home
a person of a different race.
Yes. Children brought home
a person of a different race.
Yes.
Speaking of the kids, do you want to hop into like our chocolate baby story?
Oh yeah. Sorry, let me open up my phone. We did this episode, we tried to be organized and we had a whole outline of how things were gonna go. So let's just follow that real quick. Words of affirmation. So now it's story time okay, so another thing that we found out on from doing that Ask Me Anything thing is that people really like the chocolate babies. This is a How Married Are You podcast, but people were like, can you do an episode with the chocolate babies? And then there was so much interest in that. So did anything interesting happen with you and the chocolate babies this week? I think a lot of interesting things happened.
Yeah, but I don't want to talk about that specific one that happened today. Okay. Because I feel like that's a whole nother podcast topic.
Okay.
And we have audio from it.
Okay.
Okay.
But you need to talk to me about that because I need,
Yeah. But yeah, so let's talk about it on the podcast next time. Mm-hmm. So, but I forgot my story. What was the story? Do you remember my story?
I thought we were going to pretend like this is my first time hearing your story.
I know, but we kind of talked about it just a tad bit.
I know, I don't remember what it was.
So big shout out to Donald Gadsden. He is our editor. He's editing the podcast for us. So Donald, cut this part out. What was it? It was something about Theo and what did he do?
Well, Theo's done quite a bit this week.
Yeah.
So, dang it.
What did he do, babe?
I don't remember. It was good, though.
But it was something about Uriah. You were like, don't say this thing about Uriah. What would you say? And I said I would say something about Theo. Okay, how about this? Here's another thing Theo did. Yesterday, I'm putting the kids...
Oh, yesterday, okay.
Yesterday was a Monday.
This is my first time hearing this, okay.
No, well, yesterday, we switch off back and forth, putting the kids to bed. I put the kids to bed on Monday, and I put the kids to bed on Tuesday. But I've been out of town lately a lot, so it's not been a big deal. And put the kids...
But I like how you just said, oh, I put the kids to bed 2 days in a row. Woe is me.
It's not woe is me.
You just made a plug.
I'm shouting myself out. I put the kids to bed 2 days in a row, and every night I ask Theo, are there any toys in your bed? And he says, no. Now, last week when I was here for a brief moment, I put the kids to bed and I said, Theo, is there any toys in your bed? And he goes, no. And then I look in his bed and it's like a Power Ranger sword. And I'm like, why would you lie? Like, I can see you.
I don't think he sees that Power Ranger sword as a toy. I think he sees it like it's a part of him.
Yeah, it's a part of him. Like he needs it in order to make it through his dreams or something.
He needs it to make it through the day.
So anyway, last night I'm putting him to bed and I'm like, do you have any toys in your bed? And he's like, no. So I look underneath the pillow. He has like these little papers. There's like, he like collects receipts. He'll find little piece of
and
paper.
Tags off of like.
Yeah. He's going to be a hoarder. 100%.
I don't think so.
So he takes these tags and like these little things underneath his bed. And I look, every time I pull it, I open it and I look at the tags and I'm always like, and he's looking at me like, like what? You know the deal. Like, these are my things. Don't touch my things. And so, so then I look over and I see a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Oh, yeah.
In the bed. And I was like, I just grabbed it. And he was like, Dad. And I just took it and walked away. And Yvette came.
He threw it at me.
Yvette came down the hallway and I just tossed her the sandwich. And she's like, what is going on? What in the heck is this about? This dude had a full-on peanut butter and jelly sandwich in a Ziploc bag, just sitting in his bed like he was going to wake up in the middle of the night and eat it. I was so confused, man.
Technically, it was his. He just didn't eat it earlier in the day.
But we don't save things and eat things in bed.
I know, but it's funny. I just think it's funny. Feels funny.
Very funny.
Oh, man.
Anyway.
Yes.
Let's hop into this topic, babe.
Okay, so.
Do you want to?
So.
Okay.
What?
The polls, right?
Yeah. So I asked this question on Instagram to our followers on the How Married Are You Instagram page. If you're not following How Married Are You Instagram page, please make sure you go over and do that. But I asked this question on Instagram and we had, what is this? What's the math? 175 people participate because we don't have a lot of followers there yet. But 175 people voted. And what are they saying?
Hold on. Look at the answers of our Patreon supporters. Shy says Y, Yvette. Emily says Glen. I said Yvette. I think that's RJ.
Yvette.
Glen.
Yvette. Glen. Duh.
Glen,
Jasmine,
duh.
I didn't know you were in there.
Jasmine, how?
You didn't have to say last names. You always be telling people's last names.
They on here. I'm tired of you trying
the
to
people
censor me.
listening to the podcast.
They will bleep it out.
Oh my gosh.
Shout out to Dante.
So it looks like it's kind of split on Patreon. What's this?
Patreon.
Patreon
Facebook group, secret group.
The secret group.
Okay, so what were the results on?
So these fools obviously don't know me very well. This is why I'm thinking like people are going to be very shocked about what I have to say. But 28% of people said Glenn. 72% of y'all said me.
Why are you scrunching up your face?
Why am I scrunching up my face? I don't know, babe. Okay, so here's the thing.
Are you offended?
Let me clean this up as much as possible. I don't know if it's possible.
There's going to be a lot of cleaning in here because this is a conversation. We kind of look at each other like during these type of conversations, we just kind of like, you know.
And I think racial issues or racial conversations are so sensitive anyway, so I'm a little bit whatever. But hopefully we get to the heart of the issue, which the heart could be an ugly thing in my case. I don't know. We'll see. But I don't mean to scrunch up my face. I just know that in my experience with men, which is very limited, let's just keep it real, I have always preferred someone of the same race. And technically, we're interracial because Glen's Trinidadian.
That don't count at all.
But, yeah, so it's not that I have anything against anyone who does interracial dating. That's like, whatever, different strokes for different folks. But for me, it's not something that I was like seeking. And I don't want to say that I was completely closed off to it, but like, yeah, I was just attracted to black men.
For me, I have never dated outside my race, mainly because where I'm from, I feel like there was all black people. Like there was like one white dude in my elementary school, and it was like maybe 3 in middle school back home, and then we just didn't have that diversity. And I'd never had like. I first like realized that Mexican people, like I didn't know Mexican people existed. You know what I'm saying? Until I moved to California, which is crazy. And but we actually had Mexican people in our school, but we were just like, oh, he's light skinned. Oh. His last name is Gonzalez. But I had never met a Mexican person.
But you want to know something? Fun fact, because like 72% of the people on Instagram thought that I was the one that had dated out of my race, which I haven't. Glenn has dated biracial people.
Dated?
Okay.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I've dated biracial. But
I'm trying to act brand new on folks. Anyways, what was I
biracial people.
So the funny thing is, like, I guess, I don't know what it is about me that people would assume that, but I will say that one of my dad's friends, so I remember when Glenn and I got engaged, and I was in the room with my dad when he was telling one of his friends that I was engaged. And the first question that the man asked my dad was, is he black? And I was like, wait, what? That's interesting. But I think he asked that because, like, I went to a predominantly white university. Like, I went to, so they expected that whoever it was I met at school and, you know, whatever. But anyways, interesting.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about, like, a backstory about me. And so I think, you know, it's interesting how this is going to be super awkward. If you're easily offended or you're scared, it's going to get really awkward for you. But how I grew up, like my dad and my mom had me. My dad left my mom when I was 2, moved to California, and he got remarried. He never married my mom, but he got married, and he married a white woman who was my stepmom. And I always kind of fixated on being white. Like I've always, like as a kid, I grew up like wanting to be white because I thought that was the preferred color. That was the preferred race. When I looked on the TV, like most of the things I saw were white people. And that was something that I was like, I didn't know if it was right or wrong. I just knew that like my dad preferred, what he preferred. And I just was like, this is probably, I wish I was white, And then my mom really instilled, I think she noticed, and she really instilled like this kind of like black is beautiful, pro-black, like a lot of this like mind psychology, like trying to get me to understand how beautiful my skin was. And I gravitated toward it, but it was almost like I was more scared to like upset my mom, you know what I'm saying, and disappoint her. But at the same time, like I always preferred black women because that's all I've been around. Now, that went into a super dark place when I got into college. Yeah, I got into a really dark place with all my preferences. I started like going to underground meetings about Egypt, and like started getting like super Afrocentric tattoos, and like started to like really, I wouldn't say hate, but it was like a strong dislike toward white people. You know what I mean? Like I spent about probably a year and a half in that phase. Then I moved out to California and I met Ruslan. Now, it wasn't like all white people that I couldn't stand, but I was hanging around so many people that was like not persuading me, but like they believed this, and I was really impressionable. So I just would be like, yeah, man, like I get that. Going to a lot of like super Afrocentric stuff. It wasn't just Afrocentric, it was anti-white stuff too. And so when I came out to Cali, started hanging out with, some Christians and some white dudes, and like Ruslan was Garrett was my first friend, and he's been my friend since middle school. But Ruslan was like, yo, he would like pick me up, and he's a Russian dude, but he would pick me up, we'd hang out, he like talked to me about Jesus and all that stuff. And then he was like, yo, how do you feel about interracial dating? And at this time, like being super pro-black, anti-white, I was like, yo, I think it's okay if a black man dates out of his race, but I don't really like to see like black women dating white dudes. I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I told Ruslan that. And we're in his car at the time, and he's driving me to pick up his girlfriend. I was like, cool, you're gonna pick up your girlfriend. He goes and gets her. I sit in the back seat. She's black. So I'm like faced with this point, like how about that life are you? Like, do you really not like this? And you know what I'm saying? So it was kind of like I saw this thing, and I was like sitting in the back seat, just hot, just mad. Like, man, I should punch this dude in the back of the head. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
Yeah, like I was like upset. I don't know why. But it's the same thing when you just said.
What did I say?
You said.
Oh, when I would see a good black man with someone
a good black man.
Just like.
Well, how would you know they're good just by looking at them?
No, like if I know them. It wasn't necessarily just someone I saw. I mean, there were some attractive men that I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and you be like, how did she snatch up this guy?
Yeah.
But it's this sense of ownership over people.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's right.
It might not be right, but it's, yeah, it's true.
Yeah, and so I honestly feel like there comes a point where we have to decide, like, I don't know. Before I get to like my final thoughts on this whole thing, this is what happened. So I got super into like, okay, I'm marrying a black girl. God, she has to have this. She got to be black. You know what I'm saying? I'm not dating anybody outside my race. And then I pursued all these women who were what I thought was what God had for me. And I kept getting my heart broken. And I was like, you know what? If I choose, I'm going to make the wrong decision. So I'd rather God make that choice for me. And I'm not going to be sitting up here pressed about what her color is. Mm-hmm. I'm just not going to do it because I don't know better. You know what I'm saying? Like, I kept getting these situations where it's like, dang, man, like, I don't know what the heck is going on. Like, I just run into like these really superficial women and I'd be like super heartbroken about it. And as soon as I kind of let my guard down and I was like, man, it could be a white girl, could be a Mexican girl, could be Asian girl. I was like, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? And that's when I met you. But that's when we started dating, like right after that. And so I realized that I'm not attracted to you because you're black. Like, I'm attracted to you, right? You being black is a bonus for me because that is my preference. Now, I don't know about preference. Like, I have a weird like theory on preference, and like preference is sometimes it can be discriminatory. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's a really fine line here, you know. But you being black is one of those things I hold in high regard, I feel, because I know what the stigma is around black women, you know. And I say that having a mom who had a really hard time and has had a hard time, you know what I'm saying, like being in relationships.
I don't know if this is like taking us off topic, but like I just think about a conversation I had with my older brother earlier, like a couple weeks ago, about how like for him, because right now he's older and so he's not married yet, but you know, he's desirous of being in a relationship as we all are. And so he's like, should I open up the door to dating women outside of my race? And we were just talking about it and he was like my only concern is really that I won't be able to talk to the person about like the black struggle. Or like they won't understand different contexts or different frustrations because they just haven't experienced it themselves. And so he's desirous of having someone who can relate. And I totally get that. Like even just from things like the texture of my hair or the fact that I wear a head wrap when I go to bed at night, or, you know, like there's certain things that that you understand and value because you grew up with a black mom. And that some people, like if I came to bed with my hair wrapped up, would be like, why? Like, that's unattractive. But you, on the other hand, I'll be in bed without my head wrapped on, you like, you need to go wrap up your hair. You know what I'm saying? Like, you understand why it's important that something like that happens. And so I don't know if it's a thin line or whatever. I just think it is what it is.
Yeah.
Like, there's things that you get about me as a woman because you grew up with a black woman. Not to say that people can't gain understanding, but maybe I'm just lazy in that sense.
But check this out. Being black is one of the few things we have in common. We might as well be different race, right?
Why you say that? That's true.
It is very true. Like, that is one of the few things that we're like.
But I still think it's a huge thing.
Really?
I do.
I do have, and so one of my things was like, yo, I really want to wake up and I want my children to look like me. Like, I want my children to look like me. You know, that was like something that was important.
Really? I didn't even think about that part.
Yeah, that's big for me. At the same time, it's like, I don't know what is best for me. Like, God knows.
Jasmine asks, why is it our brothers are so hesitant to date a black woman but think their sisters are beautiful? And Nathaniel said, fake news.
All right, so Nathaniel, one thing you got to know is that Jasmine and Yvette, they're brothers. They're talking about their actual brothers. She's talking about you and.
Oh, you're talking about our brothers.
Yeah, she's talking about you.
I thought she was talking about our black brothers.
No,
Nathaniel.
Yeah, so Nathaniel, she's talking about something totally different.
Oh, girl, don't even get me started.
Yeah.
Oh, she said it. Our literal brothers.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So
their brothers grew up together.
We all grew up
they're
together.
They're friends since
She's
birth.
practically my sister.
Right. So let's answer Esther's question.
Okay, so Esther said, so would you be okay if Anaya brought home a great guy that happened to be white?
Okay. I think I can answer this question. But before we answer that question, let's switch it over and let's say, how would you feel if Theo brought home a white woman?
I don't know. Okay, here's my thing.
It's awkward.
It is awkward because I'm trying to really choose my words carefully.
John gets in the house. You know it's about to be all bad from here.
So, how would I feel if Theo brought home? I wouldn't mind. I honestly would not mind. If the woman was a believer, she was like-minded, she loved him well, and she had a solid foundation in the Lord, I would not mind.
This is how I know you're not telling the truth.
How am I not telling the truth?
Because I've seen your brothers have girlfriends or interested in dating someone, and you're just like, they're just not the right one for my brother.
Babe, not because of their race.
Because of even pettier things. Yeah, sip that, because you're going to need some time. Even pettier things.
Babe, what pettier things? Age difference.
Age.
Their family didn't like them.
Okay. Even still.
John, you need to leave.
Yeah, no. Let him stay, because he need to hear some of this here. Look.
I'm hot.
Yeah, it's getting hot. Listen.
I'm listening. I'm right here.
Okay.
He always says, listen, and I'm right here.
Listen, okay. So, they've had some great...
Dude, my brothers know how to pick them.
Have had, like, some great... Like, we still getting Christmas gifts, yo. Like, we still got stocking stuffers.
And we still have babysitters.
Right? But that's what I'm saying. Like, we have... Your brothers have had some great people. Mm-hmm. Most of those people, on your first interaction with them, were terrible for them.
Babe, and I still think some of them are not good for him.
Okay. The minute they weren't together, you're best friends.
Babe, what does this have to do with anything?
The thing is, you would... How could you say that you would be cool with your sons bringing home anybody? You would find something wrong with them. Her eyebrows too close together.
Babe, I've never said anything.
You would
like
find
that.
something wrong.
I just want to set the record straight. I have never said anything like that.
You would find something wrong. And I would say that I already know this about you.
Can we get a fan?
We got no fan in here.
Babe, it's hot.
I know it's hot. I'm here. So look, I would say for me, I wouldn't have an issue, right? If Anaya brought home a white person.
But can we just...
But like, I would definitely like blink a couple times.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'd definitely have a like, hey! Like, it definitely would be awkward. The first interaction.
That's what I was going to say. Can we all just admit that we'd all be a little bit thrown off?
Yeah.
We'd be like, okay.
Yes. I'd be
okay.
very much thrown off.
Okay.
I'd be like, okay, cool.
Yes.
How's it going? Nice to meet you.
We'd be totally polite, totally open our door to that person.
Sure.
If it was Theo, Raya, or Anaya, we would open the door to that person and be like, hey, come on in. Like, our child obviously sees something in you. Let's get to see it too.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Guys, I'm not that bad.
No, I'm thinking about me. Like, I don't care if they, like, our child sees something. Like, I don't know if my child is the best picker of friends. You know what I'm saying? The best picker of people. Like, you know, they could have just been exposed to something and be like, oh yeah, she likes to kiss. And so I like kissing and that's what's happening. You know what I'm saying? Like, so anyway, yeah. So who do you think, which one of our kids do you think will date outside of their race first or at all?
I'm not going to lie. I think Theo would be the one. Theo seems to be attracted to, like, dark hair, brown skin.
Light brown skin.
Light brown skin. Like, not like, he's more into, like, you know, Latinas and he just has a look that
He don't discriminate.
He don't discriminate.
What I appreciate about that.
He doesn't. This might be part 2 of this conversation, but that's why it's also important for me. Like, lately I've been on this thing where I just want my children to have more interactions with children that look like them.
Okay, so that's the topic for next week.
So yeah, the child that is more likely to date outside their race, I think, is Theophilus. I think Uriah. No, Uriah likes him some chocolate women. Think about it.
I'm thinking about it. Oh yeah. Yeah, true. Okay. I think Uriah. I think all of them will, because
we live in Southern California.
we live in Southern California, and that's just something that I think it's important. I think some of the things that we do in culture, food, hair, dancing, but Uriah is really into like hard rock and like, so I don't know what black women he's gonna find who like
There are
American woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to get away. Like, I don't know how many of those he's gonna find. Good luck to him though.
He's gonna be what's his generation called? We're the millennials. Then you got Generation I or Z or X.
Generation Z, I think.
So what is Raya?
I don't know.
But there might be more out there like him.
Yeah, for sure. But I think our kids are gonna be. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think our kids are going to appreciate people. Like, I would rather them not like judge, but the thing is, you gotta be woke. You gotta have that third eye just on the, you know what I mean, on a swivel. That thing gotta be looking everywhere, because it's a lot to pay attention to. It's a lot to pay attention to, man. They get caught up in a sunken place and just be gone forever.
Yeah, I agree with you, Esther. She said, I just want my young boys to know that pretty girls come in every color, from the darkest brown to the lightest white. I agree, because one of the things I don't want is for my boys to be like, I just don't like black women. Like, that's something that I don't want any of my children to be like writing off a race necessarily. And so, especially the color of their own skin. And so I guess that's my biggest heart for them, is that they wouldn't say like, I just don't like black women, or I just don't date black women, because shoot, I'm a black woman. And what does that say about like the person that I am if my children aren't attracted to like a version of like,
Yeah.
I don't know how to say it right, but
Yeah, I love, like, it's gonna sound really prideful, but I really love the blackness in you. You know what I'm saying? Like you hold me accountable in a way that is of kinship. Like, it's like, you can't do that. Not only because of,
yeah.
You're my husband, or because you shouldn't do it, but what you represent and who you are to us.
And the community.
In the community and the culture. Like,
Yeah.
You can't do that. And I'm not saying like she's stealing liberties away from anything like that, but she's literally like, yo, this is what we're called to do. And as like, we have to literally be above, and that's not looking down on anybody, but that's like being above reproach type.
The other thing that bothers me is that like, I was a middle school teacher, and I was just a teacher in general. I taught high school and middle school, but I would hear kids say things like, I want a mixed baby, or I want like a chocolate. Like, I would hear little white girls say, I want a chocolate baby. Like, they'd see pictures of my kids on the wall or whatever, and then they'd say things like, I want that. And so it was kind of like they wanted to date a black guy in order to achieve that. And so, I don't know. That was also something I don't know. I have issues. I have concerns. I have lots of things.
Babe, how married are you?
I'm so married that I'm not going to tell everybody you're wearing sweatpants.
You just told everybody.
That's how married I am.
That's how married you aren't.
He has on his... He put on I'm sorry. And don't try to put me on blast.
Well, how can I not act?
No, don't do that.
I'm so married that I still find time to meal prep for you, even though you should be doing it for yourself. Right? It's not. I feel like it's very good. I feel like that's a good.
And the sweats have holes in them. We all need to chip in and get Glen some new sweats.
I'm so married that I sacrifice my wardrobe.
He does. You're still married.
Things
That's a
we
good.
need.
That was a good one right there.
I sacrifice my wardrobe for things we need.